This is my video to compare Woma pythons or Woma pythons, not as pronounced as Australia, versus the California Kingsnake. They're about the same size, same care requirement. So I thought that I'll just make a video about, if you have to choose between the Kingsnake and the Woma python, which would be a better pet for you. They both are housed in a animal plastics T8 cage, which is 4x2. So that would be the minimum I recommend for both species. As you can see, this is my snake. His name is All Might. If you're familiar with the anime Hero Academia, All Might for his eyebrows. So this is All Might. He is a male, obviously. And as you can tell, he is a pretty big snake. He's a little bit over 4 feet. He's a little bit over 4 feet. Just like my California Kingsnake, who is almost 4.5. Males are definitely smaller than females usually, but sometimes you do get a male that's a little bit unusually big. But for Woma pythons, I would say the males are a little bit longer than compared to a male California Kingsnake. Regardless, for both species, again, I would recommend no less than 4x2, just because of how active they are. That's another thing. They're both very active snakes. So I wouldn't house them in a cage that doesn't provide enough floor space for them to move around. These snakes are active during the daytime and nighttime when it's feeding time. Oh, and he's always trying to get out. He's very curious. He's a very good snake. I will make a separate video on my Woma python. So cage-wise, they're about the same. So there's no anything special about it. If you want to give them a bigger cage, a 75-gallon, that will work too. I used to house my nibbler, my Kingsnake, in a 75-gallon, but the 75-gallon is actually smaller than this enclosure, and it's more expensive. So I decided to upgrade my Kingsnake's cage by moving him into here. This is actually bigger than a 75-gallon. So if you decided you wanted to go even bigger, you can. These are active snakes. They will use every inch of space you give them. So for that round, they're about the same. Ooh, you are looking for food. I'm sorry, I fed you like 3 days ago, dude. Number 2, diet. Both are wonderful, great eaters. You would not have any issues feeding them. As you can see how active he is, he's looking for food. He's looking for food. So is Nibbler. Looking for food. Especially I have these cages open, the door open. They think it's food time and they want to come out and look for food. Now, I cannot let them get close to each other. So I'm very careful trying to close one door, keep one door closed so they don't accidentally run into each other while I'm filming this, because they're both reptile eaters. Yes, they are. The Woma python is from Australia. They're known to eat snakes. They eat lizards like bearded dragons. They also eat rodents and birds. Pretty much anything they can catch. And for the California Kingsnake, it's the same. They are known for their reputation to eat rattlesnakes. The venom has little to no effect on them when they get bit by a rattlesnake. This is their specialty. They eat lizards as well as rodents and birds. So their diet is the same. Very versatile. So you have no trouble feeding them with whatever you want. I feed them day-old chicklings as a treat. They usually get mice. The only exception is I don't feed him rats, not because it's bad. Hi, Nibbler. Because Nibbler doesn't like rats. He would spit them out if I give it to him. I don't know why. Maybe it's the smell. Uh-oh. He does smell my other snake. He's looking down because they can smell each other. Let me close this for now. So yes, they are snake eaters. So cohabitating is not an option here unless you want one snake to become dinner. Really great eaters. Woma, for some reason, have this reputation of being such an aggressive eater that there was a news article out there where somebody's pet Woma ended up swallowing the hemostat or some sort of utensil, cooking utensil, and had to be taken to surgery. The snake is fine. The snake recovered. He's doing good. But that, I don't find it, it's a little extreme, but I'm not surprised. They're known for that, food aggression. However, do not let that deter you or scare you away, because as you can see, All Might doesn't have that. I've been told the same thing. Don't get a Woma python, they will try to eat your hand. He had not once ever striked at me, not once ever mistaken my hand for food, and I had him since he was a hatchling. The breeder who bred him, Dynasty Reptiles, did a very good job breeding him. He's very, very social. Never hissed at me, never mistake me for food, nothing. No defensive strikes. He just likes to eat, but he knows the difference. Same thing for the California Kingsnake. They're known to have the reputation of accidentally trying to eat themselves. That is true. However, I don't have that problem with Nibbler. I had Nibbler, he's much older when I got him, but he never once shown any food aggression or any sorts. So, but they do have this reputation for a reason. Don't let that scare you. Just don't feed them. Don't handle them right after you feed them. They may be more likely to mistake you for food. And even then, if you were to get bit, they're gonna let go. So you're not gonna get eaten, okay? So don't worry too much about it. So for diet, they're both a draw. They both eat very well. They both eat the same or similar diet. Even though they can eat snakes and lizards, I recommend you not to do that. Just stick them to eat rodent feeders. Rodents have their frozen thawed rodents are safer to feed, more accessible, more affordable. It's, if you get a snake feeder, they may be caught outside in the wild and they may have parasites and so forth. It's just a fuss. If you want to treat them with something, you can get a chickling. The chickling will work. They both eat very, very well. He's such a good boy. Temperament. As you can see, great temperament. Again, this could be just, it's not generally where you can just go up to Kingsnake and pet them on the head and they are okay with that. Not all snakes are like that. Mine just have a very good personality. He's a very sweet snake. Most snakes don't like to be patted on the head. He's a very sweet snake. But as you can see, if you put the time into it, you can tame them. California king snakes as hatchlings are known to be a little bit nippy, a little bit fear aggressive because they're tiny. All baby snakes act that way at the beginning. But very quickly, if you give them time, just like you do with all your reptiles, when you first get them, you let them settle down, you let them eat, and then you handle. You don't overstress them. Let them trust you. They will trust you, and then the bond will grow. And they will understand that, oh, this is petting time. This is not food time. And they would not mind being picked up. And California king snakes do have a very good temperament. This is not unusual. I have handled other California king snakes that are just as gentle as Nibbler. But nibbler just have it easier, I guess, because he's older, he's more experienced, so he knows the difference between food and hand. A younger snake may not. So over time, you will be able to teach your snake how to react around you. Same for my Woma python. Temperament's great. You may have one that may be a little bit crazy because of food. Again, their food obsession makes people think they're aggressive. They're not. They're very tame snake, very good snake. I never had a problem with All Might. This is actually the snake I use to show and tell to children who wanted to see my snakes. He's one of the first snakes I take out and let them handle because he's so good. As well as Nibbler too, but as Nibbler got older, I just let him just retire from show and tell. I didn't want him to get hurt because of his back. He may have arthritis due to age. I don't know because he's never shown any pain. But Nibbler never lashed out. Although he won't let me pet his head. See? He doesn't like that. That doesn't mean he doesn't like me. It just means that he doesn't like his head pet. So temperament, they're both just as good. So far we're still at a draw. Nobody's winning, nobody's losing. Cost. Maybe this is where it's going to break the draw. Your Woma python will cost you a lot more than the California Kingsnake. All Might is a normal wild type Woma python. Currently there are like no morphs. They are in the works, but currently there are no known designer morphs. You're not going to see any albino or snow Woma pythons or anoristic. None of that. Not yet. Hopefully somebody someday will find it. But so far, this is what we have. It's the wild type, which is in and of itself very beautiful. As you can see, the pattern is very, very beautiful. But if you're looking for something more with color, you're not going to find that in the Woma python. If someone did manage to breed one, the cost will be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I would expect it to go up to like, someone would sell it, if it even goes on sale, if someone's willing to let it go and sell it, over $20,000 if someone is able to discover a morph for this species. But so far, there are none that I'm aware of. If anything, they may be able to breed the pattern to be less, to have less pattern, but color-wise, there's no new discovered morphs as far as I know. For wild type alone, they are very expensive. You would get one of these for about $250 to $300 or more. I got him for about $250 from Dynasty Reptiles at an expo. I actually met the owner, Chun, at Dynasty Reptiles. I talked to him. He's a very nice guy, very helpful. He bred these snakes, so he know his snakes. And but $250 is the usual price. You probably won't find it any lower than that. And they're hard to find. Woma pythons are not commonly bred. They're not found just in any expo. The expo I found them at, it was the Daytona National Breeders Expo, which happens once a year. And even so, there was only one or two tables that sold the Woma python. Most just carry ball pythons, and that's a rant for another day. But yeah, if you want one, you're going to have to go online and look for a breeder. Dynasty Reptiles, like I said, breeds them, so that's a good option if you're looking for one. I don't know if they breed the cousin, the black-headed python. It's his cousin, the cousin of the species, and they are, black heads. They look just like this, but with black heads. Those goes in hundreds, or if not thousands of dollars. Way more than $250. You will not find a black-headed python for $250. So, with that said, we move on to the Kingsnake. Nibbler. It's just your regular wild type California king snake. I got him for $100 at Underground Reptiles. I will make a video about Underground Reptiles. I'm actually a repeating customer over there. I'm fortunate enough to live close enough to go to their store in person whenever I feel like it, whenever I needed something. And one day I saw him and I handled him and I'm like, wow, this is the best snake I ever had. And at that time, I just started I kept ball pythons. I didn't like it. I hated, but that's my personal reference. I hated ball pythons for my own reasons. And I actually wanted to get at the snake keeping hobby because I was so unhappy with my ball python experience. My ball pythons ate. They did what they do. It wasn't what I expected. I didn't enjoy myself. I was miserable. And then I found Nibbler and I was in love with Nibbler. Now keep in mind, I just eat these snakes, okay? And they're both snake eaters. Not once have they thought my hand is food. You can tell he's curious. He's trying to smell me, wondering why do I smell strange or whatever. But he never once tried to take a bite out of me. This is $100 snake. He was a surrender. He was a pet surrender by his owner, who had him for a very long time. They are very affordable, as you can see. $100 for an adult California king snake. Wild type, you can probably get it for a little bit less as a hatchling. And they're common. They're everywhere. You can find California king snakes online. Not so common in expos. Most pet stores will carry them. And if there are hundreds of morphs, there's the albino, high white, mosaic. Mosaic means the pattern's all crazy. It's not like this, like a zebra stripes. There's just patches of black here and patches of black there. There's reduced pattern. There's the high white albino is beautiful. It's pink, but mostly white. It is gorgeous. You have to see the pictures. They're amazingly gorgeous. And the more colors that you desire or different morphs and designer morphs, the less common they are, the more expensive they are. So for example, a high white, if you just want a regular high white, which is black and white or brown and white, high white just means the color. The white is much whiter because when they get older, sometimes these snakes will turn yellow. The white turns yellow. So they are bred high white, meaning that white stays white as much as possible and as bright as possible with as least amount of yellow or any sort of tainted colors. So for a high white, you would probably get it for $250. Now, if you want albino in it, instead of your typical brown to white or black to white, you would have pink to white. Your albino, you would probably pay about $300 to $400, depending on where you get it. Which is not bad. It is not bad. It seems a lot of money, but they are beautiful. And there's hundreds and hundreds you can pick. I mean, you don't even have to pick high white. You can get a regular albino. There's the banana morph, which looks like it's not like a ball python banana. It's more like a pinkish hue banana, pinkish yellowish hue. But yeah, there's many different kinds. The California Kingsnake, even the wild type alone, are beautiful. And they're all very much affordable. So for the same price you get for Woma python, you can get a nice morph for a California Kingsnake. So for this round, I would give it to the California Kingsnake just because they're much more affordable. There are more morphs, more choices, and they're more available. You can find a lot of breeders breed them. They're easy to breed, and they're more popular. Which to me, I guess is a little unfair because the Woma python is such a great snake too. They're just not as popular in comparison to the other snakes. That is all. That is all. I mean, if the popularity goes up, we may have more breeders. Maybe one day somebody will find that morph. The only, I guess, challenge to that is because we can't have these imported anymore. Woma pythons is an Australian species. Australia no longer allowed exports. Just like the bearded dragon and then the children python, any Australian species are all captive bred, generations removed from the wild. And a lot of the morphs, newly discovered morphs, are from a specimen caught in the wild. Somebody saw a really pretty snake in the forest, caught it, but somebody bought it, and they bred it, proved the genes, and that's how you get your morph. And because we don't get newly imported Woma pythons with pretty colors or special genetic traits, it will be a lot harder to find a morph. But, you know, never say never. We'll never know. So, again, the Kingsnake won this round when it comes to costs and availability. So, for my final point is, even though everything is pretty much the same, which would be the hardier snake? Which is the snake that I know that I can keep and not have to worry about any health issues, any genetic malfunction of any sort, like a wobble or anything? And unfortunately, I have to tell you, it's another draw. There are none. There are none that I'm even heard of or anything. Never read about it in an article. The California Kingsnakes are hardy snakes. As you can, just FYI, that bump I already discussed in a previous video, he has cancer. That is a cancerous growth. And he is over about the age of 10. He is an elderly snake. So he's already been seen by the vet. That cannot be treated. That cannot be surgically removed, unfortunately, due to how close it is to his cloaca and the aggressiveness of the growth, which we think will come back even if we try to perform surgery. Other than that, he's been healthy. They're known to be hardy snakes. You can make mistakes. They're very forgiving. Temperature is the same as the Woma python, about 88 degrees, no higher than 90 in a hot spot. Cool side room temperature is good enough. They both need low humidity, so just keep it below 40% humidity, you're fine. They both shed well, they both eat well, they both have no known health issues, they live a long time. You make a mistake, they'll bounce right back. I mean, yeah, and that same for the Woma python. Same husbandry, temperature, humidity, same thing. I never had an issue, no known issues with the Woma python. No weird kinks. I mean, obviously, all kinks are going to happen when you breed enough times in any species. But they're rarely ever seen in both species. I never seen anyone advertise a snake for non-breeding purposes, for pet purposes, due to a kink in the tail, like ball pythons have. Or even some corn snakes may have them. But again, they're hardy. Health-wise, they're pretty good. They live a long life, about the same lifespan. They're both very active snakes. So it all depends on you, because they're about the same thing other than the cost and the choices of morphs. It's all up to you. If you want to pick a snake that is not commonly kept, that you want to wow people with, because you have a snake that's underrated in the pet industry, the Woma python's great. The Woma python won't disappoint. They have beautiful natural colors on their own, and not everybody has one. Oh my gosh, you keep trying to get out to go find food. There's no food. You ate. See how he's very, very determined. They both have personalities, really good personalities. My goodness, they both have good personalities. Even though they're two separate species. This is from Australia. This is from the North America. The California Kingsnake, specifically more to the obviously California and other parts around there, not just California alone. Even though they're from two separate continents, the husbandry, everything is about the same, which is kind of cool, I think. And they both don't have heat pits. Even though he is a python, he isn't a python species. He doesn't have heat pits, just like the black-headed python, which I will go over more in depth when I make a video just about Woma pythons. So if you wanted a snake that's very unique, as one of the two pythons that do not have heat pits, if you care about the details, then the Woma python is for you. If you want something with pretty colors, lots of choices, easy to find, then the California Kingsnake will be great. Both are great choices. Just make sure you provide them the proper husbandry and size of enclosure. I cannot stress this enough. These are active snakes. Give them something to stretch. Give them something to do. Give them things for stimulation and enrichment. That is very important for both species. So if you can't do that, if size is a problem, then both snakes would not be a good candidate for you, at least at this time.